This is Choate. For us alumni, for old and new friends, here is something of the campus, the spirit, the men who have made this our school. The incidents in this picture are as real as the people. Each one has actually happened, some of them over and over again. This in early morning, serene and silent, until the rising bell.
Father, we thank thee for the refreshment of this night, and pray thee to help us to use in thy service the strength of this new day. Amen.
After breakfast, there's a period of minor housekeeping. The boys make their beds and straighten up their rooms, and then classes begin. Some are classes the older alumni will remember. For instance, a well-known class in history.
The late Mr. Hayes.
Sorry, sir.
I'll let you answer this first question. We were studying about Abraham Lincoln when he made this speech, the anniversary, Battle of Gettysburg, and he said, government of the what, by the what, and for the
People, sir.
On the button. You're excused this time, but don't let it ever happen again.
Sorry.
Anybody know what the lesson is?
Chapter 24.
24. Well, what's that about?
Another in current affairs.
The 22nd Amendment's just been passed. It was passed by Congress quite a while ago, but it has to be ratified by the states. That means that no president from now on is going to have more than 2 terms.
Don't you think this should apply to President Truman?
Well, they left him out of the bill out of politeness, but I notice all the Republican newspapers feel that it should apply to Truman and feel very happy about it all.
Ray Brown's exercises in mental arithmetic.
Take 7, multiply by 7, add 1, divide by 5, multiply by 4, add 2, divide by 6, multiply by 3, add 1, and divide by 2. Right, sit down. Take 10, square it, add the cube of 2, divide by the square of 3.
The alumni might recognize some classes even before they heard what subject was being discussed.
This is in balance. This would satisfy Mr. Shute, but this is ever so much better. That goes for all nitrates, excepting sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate.
Now, point A is inside that angle. AB is perpendicular to one plane. AC is perpendicular to the other. You are required to pass a plane through AB, perpendicular to MN, and AC, perpendicular to PQ, and to prove the intersection is perpendicular to that line. Can you do it?
Of course, there are a number of new faces in the classrooms, too. These paintings were done by Choate boys as part of a course for college entrance credit. Beyond the college courses, there are others. Courses in the manual arts. Courses in aeronautics. Radio. And instrumental music. Halfway through the morning, there's a 15-minute break for crackers and milk. This break is for the boys and masters only. The rest of the machinery of the school goes right on, from the dairy farm to the kitchen and bakery.
Mr. Taylor asked me to give you this, sir.
Thank you, Charlie.
I wish you could make me one of these big cakes.
Do you play on League C football team this year?
Yes, sir.
What team?
Princeton.
Who do you play tomorrow?
Notre Dame.
Well, if you beat Notre Dame, I'll make you a cake large enough for your whole Princeton team.
Thanks.
There are no more classes after lunch. The time until 3 o'clock is devoted to individual boys. Occasionally, there are conflicts with school routine that have to be resolved.
Where were you this morning, the sixth period?
I was in my room asleep, sir.
You went absent from lunch?
No, sir, my roommate woke me up in time.
That's lucky. But after all, you do know the rules of the school.
Yes, sir, but there's so many rules.
Not any more than there are at home. And after all, there are a great many more of us here at school who have learned to get along together.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. The next time you find me asleep when I'm supposed to be doing something, you can put me on bounds. The next time you can't keep awake, I'll put you on bounds, and you'll get a good rest.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Part of the time is devoted to individual conferences between boys and masters. The hours from 3 to 5 in the afternoon are set aside for sports. Everyone who is physically fit goes out for something, but more go out for football than any other sport. Most of the Choate varsity gets its start in the midget division, known as League C. The competition in this league produces some mighty keen football. Players graduate from there to League B. The next stop on the ascending scale of age and weight is League A. Varsity football is something that interests the whole school. When there is an important game away from home, the entire student body follows the team by special train. The men who do the coaching are teachers. And sometimes they see things on the field that they can't see in the classroom. These are often signs of interpersonal problems. Being both teacher and coach gives a man a double opportunity to help solve such problems when they appear. Sometimes a boy is taken out of a game for reasons that have nothing to do with victory or defeat. This sixth former, for example, was acting in a way so foreign to his nature, as the coach knew it, that it seemed as if immediate help was necessary.
The kid isn't naturally like that. I had him in history last year. He's not a quitter.
No, I'd call him very persistent.
Well, something's on his mind.
I'll have a talk with him. Oh, Tom.
Yes, sir?
Got a minute?
Yes, sir.
Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Moore tells me you always got into trouble at the game on Saturday.
I guess I lost my temper, sir.
Well, that hardly seems like you. You've been looking tired lately, Tom. I wonder if maybe you're doing too much this year.
Well, I've got the news, sir. Sir, how much do you think a person should be able to read in an hour?
I suppose it depends on the person.
Well, sir, it's my English assignments. I read them all, but...
But by the time you get them all done, you haven't any time for anything else. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, why not change to a section where there isn't so much reading?
I wouldn't want to do that, sir.
People aren't expected to work at the same speed in everything, after all. You're better than most in mathematics.
Yes, sir.
You know our saying here that along with the extra responsibility given to sixth formers, they also have the right to fail. You aren't going to abuse the privilege, are you? Just because you're too proud to admit you read slowly.
That wouldn't be very smart, would it? All right, sir, I'll change.
Good. And stop worrying.
I guess maybe I have already, sir.
I'll ask Mr. Wheeler in the morning to tell you about that extra class.
Thank you, sir.
See you later, Tom.
Winter brings a new program of sports. Choate Navy starts its work on the lake as soon as school opens in the fall and gets back in practice in early spring with other warm weather sports. Tennis and track get started in the winter exercise building during the cold weather. And the baseball cage is always a busy place. Time is allotted in the afternoon or evening for various extracurricular activities. As mealtime approaches, the work program becomes active. Everybody takes part in it for an average of 20 minutes a day. The master in charge of organizing the work program sees that each boy does his share as cheerfully as possible.
Sir?
Hello, Bob. What's on your mind?
Well, I've got sort of a problem.
You have? Let's hear about it.
Well, my mother wrote me and told me that she's coming up this weekend and I'm supposed to be on dish stacking.
Have you got a substitute?
All the substitutes are taken.
You know, Bob, this job would only take a couple of hours. We could entertain your mother that long.
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't be ashamed to have your mother see you stacking dishes, would you, Bob?
Oh, no, sir.
You don't think it would upset her, do you, to see you doing that kind of work?
No.
I'll see what you can do. If you can't find a substitute and it's going to spoil your weekend, we'll take care of it in some way.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Bob.
Sir?
Hello, Mac. What's up?
Well, sir, we've got sort of a problem.
Chapel services are held 4 nights a week after dinner and on Sunday afternoons. thousands of Choate alumni, the chapel will always bring back memories of Dr. and Mrs. George St. John, who for 39 years were the heart and mind of the school. Dr. St. John once described what he called the genius of our school. His talk was recorded, and we reproduce a passage from it here.
When each boy enters Choate, if you call this sentimental, you must choose some other school. She enters into his life, alma mater that she is, as do his mother and father. Their tenderness and wisdom and disciplines toward him are hers, as if she had borne him.
Part of the time between chapel and lights out is spent in study. Underformers with honor grades and all sixth formers study in their rooms. The rest of the school studies in study hall or the library. But other things happen besides study. The staff of the Choate News works every evening, one of the most interesting activities in the school.
I've just been rereading this editor on the library. It's not so hot.
What's wrong with it?
Well, it's okay, I guess. We've been pretty critical about the whole thing. Can't we make some constructive suggestions, though?
You're right, but it's a little late for this week. We could run one next week.
Don't you think we ought to make it this issue anyway?
I suppose so. Gillies.
Now what? We need a new editor in the library. Tonight. Okay, okay.
The Dramatic Club rehearses. The Dramatic Club presents 2 major productions a year, which are 2 major highlights in the life of the school. The evening is the time for parties, birthday parties, and parties given at the home of Headmaster and Mrs. St. John each fall for the new boys. Of course, the lodge is open to the boys at all times, party or not. When a boy is sick, Mrs. St. John calls on him at the infirmary. The dispensary is the focal point of the school's defense against sickness. Here, all boys are examined for minor ailments and before they are admitted to the infirmary. This is a sixth former's room. The school believes that when a boy is about to enter college, the responsibility for his success or failure must be primarily in his own hands, and that he must know it. Sixth formers are elected to the student council and help run the school. Lower formers are represented on the council too. Once a week on Friday night, it meets with the headmaster to discuss school affairs, new ideas, and boys that might be helped. The need for help appears unexpectedly sometimes. Take a case like Bill Caldwell's. Bill was one of our most brilliant students in mathematics. His only trouble was that he couldn't see the necessity for learning anything else. When a boy has difficulty, a lot of people try to find out what is at the bottom of the trouble. The boys themselves are interested.
Evan, will you take that up with the school at chapel tonight?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Jim, Bill Caldwell's in your house. He doesn't seem to mix with the group or to be a real part of things in school life. What do you think's the trouble?
I'm not really sure, sir. He's an awful hard boy to get to know. He's young and he's shy, and he's afraid to get into things.
I wonder if you could reach him somehow. Maybe you could think of something that you're both interested in. I know it would give a real boost to his self-confidence just to know that you wanted to help him.
Well, all I've ever heard him talk about, sir, is math. And I can't go very far in that.
Bill's problem came up at the next masters' meeting as a matter of course.
Mr. Tinker, do you think we could somehow tie English to mathematics in Bill's mind? He wants to be an Einstein. Could we get him excited about some books in mathematics that would show him that the great scientists can not only do equations, but can read and write, too?
Well, there are several good books by Waldemar Kempfert, which might help. And then I can talk with Mr. Porter about the possibility of others, and I'm sure we can do it.
Mr. Massey, have you had any less trouble getting Bill out for athletics?
He avoids the playing fields like a plague. He says it's a waste of his time.
I'll bet he'd like forestry instead of a sport. That would satisfy his scientific urge, anyhow. Mr. Packard, how about the French?
Bill has a real block of some sort in foreign language. He can't seem to even get himself to try to do the assignments. Just now he isn't getting anywhere, and he's feeling very down about it.
I wouldn't give up on it just because it's hard for him, but I'm worried about how it's affecting him in other ways. Mr. Wheeler, what would you say to dropping Bill from French and giving him some extra science and calculus?
Well, it's rather unusual, but it's perfectly possible. Of course, it would cut him out of a fairly large number of colleges, but those are the colleges he doesn't want to go to. He's interested only in an engineering school.
It's a pretty unusual move, but I think it's the right thing for Bill right now, and that's all that counts. Let's do it.
Bill began to enlarge his horizon. He made friends. He found a form of exercise that could be substituted for athletics. When commencement came, Bill got the diploma he might have missed. Well, by 9:30, the school day is pretty well over. By 10 o'clock, for most of the school, the lights are out, except for festivities weekends. rest of the year, lights out at 9:30 for the younger boys, 10 o'clock for the rest of the school, except the sixth form.
Sir, could I speak to you for a few minutes?
Sure, Bert. Come back after lights.
Okay, sir.
Education begins with a teacher and a pupil. It takes its best form when they have confidence in each other and when there are no barriers between them.